From Vassar College, this is Conversations at the Salt Line with Wesley Dixon.
On this episode, a conversation with Elisa Strauss.
Today, I am very honored to welcome back to campus and to our studio, Elisa Strauss, class of 1998 from Vassar College, founder, CEO, owner of many things, but most importantly, Confetti Cakes, her business that we'll talk about in a little bit. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm happy to have you here. You were on campus recently at an event at the Institute.
At the Vassar Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
Something like
right?
that.
Is that it? VIE?
Yes, that is the program. Yes. And it took place in the Vassar Institute for the Liberal Arts.
Yes.
So lots of words and all that kind of stuff. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Before we get started, actually, I like your bracelet.
Actually,
tell me.
So nice, because I really don't wear jewelry because I'm a baker.
Okay.
And I don't like
Let me
things.
See. One,
I know.
Three,
but
okay.
Well, today I just didn't because I knew I wouldn't be on my phone constantly.
Okay.
Like, I mean, not that I'm usually, but most. Anyway, so I didn't want to lose track of time.
Okay.
So this is something like I got when I was like
Niecy.
16 from my parents, and then this recently I went on a trip with a group of women. And it was like a thank you trip because one of my amazing friends has survived breast cancer and is in remission.
Congratulations
because she's
to her.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And she gave us all this. So I texted her this morning to tell her that I was going to wear it.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
For good luck.
I love that. Well, I'm a big jewelry person too. I don't have a lot on today, but I do wear lots of random costume jewelry, nothing incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
But I like it because I often feel like there's always a story behind the jewelry.
Oh my God, you don't even want to start. I mean, we could go down each thing and they
all have something with
these
them.
are my 3 children.
Oh my goodness. So let me tell you, I don't think I've told them on the podcast before, but I have a thing for most pieces of jewelry that I own, unless it's like something that's very expensive, which I don't really have, or something that someone gave me that's very personal and sentimental. If it's not either of those things, when I wear jewelry and I'm out and someone I either know or doesn't know compliments the jewelry, I just give it to them. I just say, just take it.
I knew you were going to say that. That is so nice.
And part of it is, I feel like whatever sort of energy or whatever is with the jewelry, I just want you to have it. Like if you've called out to it, you've acknowledged it, you must not even know, or you might not recognize that you need or want it, but you've let me know that you need or want it, so I'm just giving it to you. And I've had so much fun. So it's cool though, because in a narcissistic sort of way,
nice.
I like the thought of me having like tentacles. No, I wasn't asking for this. And no, that's very sentimental. no, it's very sentimental.
I can't give it to you, but I know where it comes from.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I have these like tentacles of my like presence around the world because I've given stuff to random people who I don't know, and they like might live in far-flung places, but they have some random ring. And I always say to them, the only ask I have is that you do the same thing. So if someone compliments the same piece of jewelry, that you just part from it and give it to them in the way that I gave it to you. So I'm always just looking at unique pieces of jewelry, which is why
I mean, we would be here all day, but I could tell you each thing.
Well, we haven't even really started, and I'm just happy to have you here. But it's cool because you were here seriously as part of the Vassar Institute's event around entrepreneurship and the liberal arts. And I think it's so exciting because people think about places like Vassar and they assume, oh my goodness, everyone there is learning some random, arcane, Byzantine, not particularly useful piece of information for 4 years. But the truth is, that is not, I would not accept that premise. And also, I think people are often surprised to hear that many Vassar graduates go on into very robust careers in entrepreneurship in some form or fashion. And so I'm so grateful to have you here because I want to spend some time today learning about your entrepreneurship journey and also, pulling back the layers such that others who have interest in different types of entrepreneurship can sort of think about, how do I go down that path? How do I sort of make that decision to be my own boss and to craft my own journey for myself? So I think you'll be a great teacher for all of us as we go through that lesson.
So that's a lot of pressure.
It's a high bar for you.
No, I mean, yes, I feel like, especially after being here for the conference, it was amazing meeting people who are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, and then other alums that have gone on and done, and not two of us are in the same industry, let
course.
alone like similar boats. And so I just think, part of it is just the student that gravitates towards Vassar. So that's a person who's
Right.
passionate about whatever it is that they're
Yes.
passionate about. And there's no clear line.
Yeah,
There's no clear
absolutely.
path. That
So
was the
before
main
we
thing.
get into your entrepreneurship journey, I want to go a couple steps before that and hear about your time at Vassar and hear about your studies, what you spent time doing. I know that you had an experience at Vassar that helped you think about what you didn't want to do. So I just want to
Yes,
sort of
yes.
set the groundwork before we go into your festive and celebratory career in business.
Oh, so nice. I love Vassar. As soon as I visited it, I applied early decision.
Yeah.
And I played tennis here, which was really a big, we don't have sororities and fraternities.
Right.
But as soon as you join a sports team or, a
Some other
group
kind
of
of
drama
club, yeah.
kids, like you kind of find some people with something else that you like.
Yeah.
And then, I thought that I was going to be an art teacher.
Yeah.
So I did come in thinking that I might study art, but I took a lot of different classes from urban studies and psychology and, did immerse myself into the education department. And thank goodness, because they had me do an internship
Yeah.
in a local school. Nothing against those kids.
Sure.
But I just realized, wait, maybe I like to make art with my own hands
Yeah.
and not teach people that may or may not want to even learn
Right.
about it, especially when you're so young. It's like,
Yeah.
who wants to listen to you talk? I just want to get started,
Yes.
So, so that was, so then I studied a lot of art history, studio art.
Yeah.
I'm still in touch with my advisor
who
and
was
the
that?
former head of the art department, Mr. Charlap.
Okay, yeah.
And and everything I learned, whether it was, being a tour guide and walking backwards or talking about, Vassar being an arboretum or
It was Arbor Day last week.
Yes.
Just last week, yeah.
Oh,
The
so
100th
beautiful.
year anniversary of the
Wow.
Arboretum here at Vassar. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's amazing. See, I could have made a cake in the shape of, just everything about, the discipline of being part of tennis and having to juggle being a
Yeah.
student and, loving my time in
Yeah.
the library. And I think I was vice president of my dorm, if I can
Okay.
remember, so long ago, of JOS.
Yeah.
So just so many,
So cool.
many things that, and not least, my closest friends are still from Vassar,
yeah.
and one of those friends introduced me to my life partner, my husband. So it all comes
Vassar.
back to Vassar.
Of course, clearly. And before you started, after Vassar, before you started making cakes full time, you've been making cakes
Yes.
forever, but before you did it full time, I understand that you were working at Ralph Lauren.
Yes.
Tell me about that
Yeah.
experience.
So that was great. So that, again, even though it didn't go right back to Vassar, it was
Yeah.
my professors here that kind of encouraged me to look at a real art school, if you will. not
Sure.
This is a real art school.
Yeah.
But I did go my JYA instead of going over to Europe. I went to the Art Institute in Chicago,
Cool.
developed a portfolio, and there, because it is a
proper-
full-on
yeah.
art school, it had, a fiber department, which, so I studied different kinds of textiles
Yep.
and color courses and really down to the nitty-gritty,
Sure.
almost scientific part of
Yeah.
art that you don't get like
Right.
at a liberal arts school here. And so that was really formative. And so when I came back that summer and was looking for an internship, one thing led to another, and I had that portfolio of
Right.
fiber arts mixed with my Vassar education. And
Right.
so that landed me really an illegal internship because I think at the time they were supposed to pay me.
Okay.
But instead, I just stayed at my older brother Eric's apartment and slept on his leather couch.
Right.
Which is really uncomfortable. These are really comfortable, but
Yeah,
that
they
was
are.
not
Yeah.
comfortable. To
And they-
sleep on.
Yeah. And did they pay you at all?
I mean, honestly, I don't think so.
It's
For
okay.
at least until I became like
An employee.
real.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
And I mean, I have to thank her. My boss at the time, Kristen, like she's like, I just need you here. And so she was just so great.
Yeah.
But it's also that like Vassar can do.
Yes.
Again, like anyone I
Yes.
know, whether they're a doctor or they're in human resources or marketing, like you just go for it.
Absolutely. That's so cool. So you worked at Ralph Lauren for
Yes.
some time.
Yes.
And
Then I got a real job after I graduated.
after the internship, you got the real
Right.
job there, full-time
Yes.
job. And you were there for a time.
Yeah.
But you weren't there forever. So what did you take and learn from that experience at Ralph Lauren?
Wow, so much.
Yeah.
It's like the macro and the
Hold
micro.
on. Before
Yeah.
that, actually, hold on. This is a very
Yeah.
pedestrian question, but it's
Yeah.
important because we're filming this only a few days after the Met Gala. So,
Oh, yeah.
what are your like Met Gala hot takes? Like, who do you watch the Met Gala? You don't know? Okay, fine. Well, I should say, it's okay.
I went
It's
to the Met the
disappointing.
next day though to see
okay, close.
2 art exhibits.
Okay, close. I like
And
that.
I saw the flowers, and those were so exciting. So this is the funny thing.
Tell me.
Despite working in fashion,
Yeah.
I'm not a fashionista. So I don't really care. Like my preferred
Go ahead.
clothing are like whatever, like mom jeans, and like this is from like a local store. It's almost like too stressful.
I can imagine.
So
Like a kitchen.
I feel like like I could just if I could, I would just like dress like this. I'd wear the same thing every day.
Kind of like, who does it? Mark Zuckerberg, whoever it is who wears the Patagonia all the
Really?
time. Something like that.
Well, he can afford all those Patagonias, but
Well, I should
no.
say, just, Usher was
Yeah.
wearing Ralph Lauren at the Met Gala this
Oh,
past
really?
weekend.
Of course.
Yeah.
Actually, my claim to fame at Ralph Lauren was I watched Ralph dress Gwyneth Paltrow the year she won. She was in that pink dress. I don't know, maybe Shakespeare in
Okay.
Love, something.
Wow.
One of those. They
Fun.
dressed like they were fitting
of
the
course,
dress.
the thing onto her. Yeah. That's so cool.
And I worked runway shows, and I mean, you just learn so much.
yeah.
You learn about a brand. You learn from, whether we wanted to use a certain piece of artwork. Ralph will come in and say something like, I want to do a Gauguin, exotic type of print, but I want it in black and white and da-da-da. And like you pull all these things
Right.
to show him and to show all the different,
Right.
there were lots of layers, vice president,
Sure.
and then my boss, and then
Sure.
me, the peon, putting it all together. And so, you had to run it by the law department.
Right.
You had to run it by, advertising to make sure that they liked what was
Right.
going. And
Licensing,
then
somebody else.
And licensing. And then the most important, Polo Retail, which, by the way, I was an art major. So
Right.
it's not exactly like I knew what I was doing in terms of spreadsheets and,
Commerce.
commerce and and this was a long time ago. Yeah.
That is so cool.
But you just learn so much. You learn about a brand. You learn
Yeah.
about, keeping things. And I've seen it with my own friends, like my friend Lee Zalbin, who
Okay.
graduated a few years before me, I think 95. He owns Peanut Butter & Co.
Okay, cool.
And I did a project with him, and he, I remember his staff sending me a binder of these are the fonts we use. These are
Our style
like
guide.
I think
Yeah.
the style guide. Thank you, binder. So like style guide. Look at you, Wes. You know about
I know
everything.
a little bit of something, just a little bit.
Well,
That's
that
so
was
cool.
good. But yeah, the style guide.
Yeah, that's
and so
so
you
cool.
just learn how important that is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I understand that you, again, had always been baking cakes, but I don't want to say your big break, but sort of this inflection point was when you made Ralph a cake for his
Yes.
60th birthday. Ralph Lauren, I don't know him. Ralph
Yes.
Lauren made a cake for his 60th
Ralph, let
birthday.
me just get my phone out. No, yeah, I was just working in
Yeah.
the print and scarf department, just a year or two out of college, and I don't even know, did I start pastry school yet? I'm not even sure. I'm sure I could look up the date. It was
Yeah.
his 60th birthday, and one of the vice presidents, I would just walk around with my little book of like actual photographs
Yeah.
of really, really, really bad cakes.
Yeah.
Like They were so bad.
What made them bad though? On photograph though, because they weren't tasting the cakes; they were just seeing them. So you're saying they're bad.
Right? No, they were bad looking. You know what I would say are bad? It's like you see this pillow.
Yeah.
You see how it looks like a pillow.
Yeah.
Well, now I can make a cake that looks like a pillow. I
right.
can make the piping. I could do stitching, things
Right.
like that. They were just flat. So I made a handbag for one of my friends that worked at Ralph,
right.
and it was like a flat. It's like think of a sheet cake.
Yeah.
And then
With rounded edges.
yeah.
Right. There was
And so
no...
even Ralph's car, like it was a Bugatti, but it was like there was no space between the
see.
end of the tires and the
the
axle.
Yeah. I got it. That's so
Yeah.
fun. But it was good enough for someone to first of all ask you to do it, and second of all
they didn't
for
know any
things.
better.
Well, but
Yeah.
then people kept asking you after that. They didn't stop asking you.
No,
so...
then I like kept getting. Then someone else at through Ralph Lauren, a licensee, her husband was working for the company Waterworks. Do you know?
It sounds
It's like
familiar.
high end. It was like Kohler before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so I made a bathtub cake, and then that led to an ex-boyfriend's friend was like writing for Time Out New York.
Okay.
And so they put me in Time Out New York, and then just
Yeah,
each
yeah,
thing
yeah.
bill,
Everything
and
was
then
iterative.
you do one more cake for a client, and each one just kept
so
going,
cool.
and I kept my job as a freelancer.
Yeah.
Working in fashion.
Right.
To like make
Pay the bills,
dough.
right.
Like for real.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like a schizophrenic life.
That's so cool. So
Yeah.
part of what I heard in that story is there's something about, I think, you, and then part of it is the world that is like creating, how do I say it? So there's this value of just creating opportunity for yourself, or allowing
Yes.
others to create it for you as well, right? Which I think is something that it sounds easier than it actually is to do, right? People can get in
Right.
their own way. People sometimes don't allow folks to help them.
Right.
And so it seems like you've been able to master doing both of those things, creating your own opportunities and letting folks help you. Was it
think
always that
yes.
way, or?
Well, I just feel like you need to put in the work.
Yeah.
And then I really do believe not in like a hokey way,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
the universe will, like the first step is saying yes versus
Yes.
no.
Correct.
And so, my joke is, so my husband went to business school. He's like you, a whole Ivy person.
What?
And he's, his first reaction's always like, well, that won't make any money. And if that's your first part, and I think you'll see that with anyone, like Bill Gates wasn't interested in becoming
right, a
one of the
billionaire,
richest
right.
men, and Mike Bloomberg wasn't either. Like
Right.
they were just fascinated by what those are two really boring examples, but I could,
Yeah.
Hindi Wiley is like an amazing artist. And so, it's like if you follow that passion and
Yeah.
put it out there, but you do have to talk about it.
Right.
And so I think, the comparison I would use today
Yeah.
in social media would be, anyone can post.
Right.
But are you reaching out to people? Are you doing collaborations? Are you doing engagement? Are you, doing live events? It's just, it's not easy
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you have to always be thinking.
doing something,
I was with
yeah.
a group of women yesterday that were all entrepreneurs, and it's so funny. One friend was saying that her friend asked her, well, what do you do, like after dinner? Like, what do you like sit and watch TV
Right,
or whatever?
right.
And I don't think an entrepreneur
Thinks that
ever
way.
does that.
Right.
You're always
doing
thinking,
something.
yeah.
I was at dinner last night as well with a group of people, one of whom is an entrepreneur, a Vassar grad. And to your point, like, he was like, I don't mind. He was like
Yeah.
on the phone doing this,
Oh,
like,
God.
but it wasn't. No, it was. But to your point though, he's
Yeah,
always
right.
And like even at the dinner,
was it Ralph Lauren on the phone?
It wasn't quite Ralph.
Okay,
no,
fine,
no.
but like it should be an important phone call.
Well, but it was
Yeah.
important actually. Their POS and their Brooklyn location stopped working, and of
Oh,
course,
God,
like
yes.
during service,
Yes.
they're in the food business, right? And
Oh,
so
my
like
God, yes.
it was a real critical thing, right? And so like he had to step away
Yeah.
from dinner and had to handle it,
Yeah.
and that's you get it, right? But to your point, entrepreneurs are always, I imagine, on and thinking and doing. So that makes sense.
Right.
Hold on. We skipped a step.
Oh, that sounds like me.
No, it's okay. I love
We call
it.
it
You're
a
just
Strauss conversation in my house.
okay.
It's like, we'll circle back though.
I'm always gonna circle
Yeah.
back. So
Okay, let's
you're
go,
in good
let's
hands
go.
with me. So you were working at Ralph,
Yes.
his company, and at some point you weren't. So what was sort of your thought process and decision-making calculus behind going from doing the cakes on the side, having a side hustle in today's language or whatever,
Right.
to making it your primary hustle?
That's so interesting. I mean, it doesn't feel like it was a conscious decision.
Okay.
And it feels like I was living in those two worlds for a very long time. So even once I got
I
the
see.
commercial space and outfitted it with all the equipment and had clients and, you know, I had my own interns working for me, and this is post pastry school as well.
Okay.
Like, it feels like things were always happening in parallel. So
Got it.
I was working at Ralph Lauren while I went to pastry school on the weekend.
Okay.
And there are a few other jobs in there. I went to work at Frederick Fekkai as a handbag designer and small goods. And then I went back to Ralph
Got
because
it.
it gave me a flexible schedule as a freelancer.
Got it.
So at that point, it was, you know, I was working at Ralph during the day, but then also doing the cakes at night.
Right.
Then you jump to a woman saw me in Time Out New York about my side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
She also had a side hustle, and she's like, let's get a commercial space together. So then we got, and that was literally the person I went to the Met with on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, yeah.
Because she's still like one of my closest friends, Jerry. So we found this space, and then I outfitted it,
Yeah.
and but I was still doing like I was still doing projects
freelance
for
work,
Ralph.
right.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
In order to pay the bills
Yeah.
at the bakery.
Yeah. I'm happy you told me that story in part because, and I think others will benefit from hearing it, because I think people often don't understand or don't know the very gritty, real, detailed ways that people make it work, right? And I think as an entrepreneur, you have to make it work. You have to be able to live to do the entrepreneurial stuff, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
And it sounds fun to be like, oh, I'm gonna be this founder and just go do this company all day long and have no like whatever. But like most people can't do that. They don't have the resources. And so to hear the way you wove together different like opportunities and made decisions about opportunities that allowed you the flexibility to do other things, I think is what people could benefit from hearing, because that's how you have to make it work.
And you have to draw on what you have. Like working at Ralph Lauren, there were all these creative people.
Right.
So, you know, when I was designing my logo and I was designing my business card, you know, you get the input. So it's a give and take, but
Yeah.
it's constant. You know,
Yeah.
while I'm at Ralph Lauren working, you know, during lunch, I'm like trying to figure out how to get cake boxes
Yeah.
and they, you know, so
Yeah.
I think, nothing is ever a straight path.
Yeah, 100%. I heard you speak earlier not today, but earlier at the event before about your 5 sort of entrepreneurship lessons that you
Yes.
shared with those who were there.
Yes.
And I thought they were great. And I thought we weren't able to talk about them because you were sort of giving a lecture. You weren't having a conversation. So I think I would love to have some time to like
Yeah.
tarry on some of these lessons. Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to read them all first.
Oh, thank God.
And then we're going to go.
I can remember what I said. No, I'm kidding. I totally know.
Of course, they're your lesson, but
They're
read them all
my
first.
lessons,
and then
but-
we're going to go one by one through
Yes.
them and talk about it. Okay.
And it was my husband's idea
to do it that way?
To put them in, like, those are my lessons. Like,
Right.
I constantly refer to myself as like a media whore, which we'll get to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's here.
So he knows me better than I know myself, but it was his idea to put it in the context of
Yes.
cake,
Perfect.
of like owning a cake business, even though obviously
They're applicable generally. Right. Okay, I think
Okay.
most of them I have in the context in which you said them, but I
Okay.
think one of them might have changed.
I'll
I'm
tell
going
you.
to try to put it back into the. It's actually the first
No,
one.
it's fine.
The first one I
Yeah.
wrote down. Okay, so we're starting our lessons starting now. Okay,
5 lessons from Elisa.
about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Perfect. Number 1, I wrote is to be passionate about what
Correct.
you do. But really what you said was you have to enjoy baking cakes. Something like that.
Right. But it was more like,
Right. I made it
it's
general.
more like when people come to me and they're like, I like to bake cakes. You know, it's like the cakes are the least of what I have ever done.
Right.
I mean, yes, you have to
No, that's
have
the
a passion
product,
and you have to
obviously.
be excited about it.
Right.
But it's like you just saying to me, oh, we just had Arbor Day. And I'm like, oh my God, I could have made a cake. Like, my first reaction is always to go
Yes.
to a cake, or if I saw this in a store, I'd be like, oh my God, I love these stripes and like this color combination would be amazing
on a cake.
Not as a shirt or shoes, but yes, as a cake.
And so I'm changing what I said we're going to do. Let's talk about each one of them as we go. I think it's
so
better
passion,
that way. And I think it's good though, because what I'm hearing you say also is, as an entrepreneur, you learn to see the world through the lens of whatever your business is, right? You learning to think about the world differently, frankly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could hold different things in your mind at different times, or at the same time rather, but one of those frames is, how does my business fit into what's going on? Like, how does the idea react to, or how does it benefit this environment? You have to always think that way, I imagine.
Oh my God. And that's why it's always changing. And that's why it is so tough being an entrepreneur, because you have to keep changing.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that in a little bit too.
Could you imagine if someone's like, I'm not going to get a cell phone. People are just going to have to call me. You know, like, it's so you're always changing, but you also have to go back to that original,
the foundational sort of piece. Love that. Number 2, in your words, was learn to take your own pictures.
Yes, and this was before cell phones.
Okay, but tell us.
People call those They don't even call them cell phones anymore.
You just call it a phone.
Mobile
Call
device.
my phone. No, not even phone.
Okay, phone.
Yeah, phone.
Not cell phone.
Computer, computer.
My beeper. Okay, yes.
Yeah, so, but I knew what you meant by that because I've heard you, but tell those listening what you mean by that lesson.
No, it became clear very quickly that, a cake is here and then it's gone because hopefully someone enjoyed it.
Right.
So when you're going out into the world and saying, like, I make these amazing cakes, like, the only thing left are pictures.
Right.
Right? And so it came to me quickly that those pictures had to be good. And I was pushed into that as well because I had a phone call from an editor and she basically said the same thing. Like, your cakes look amazing, but your photographs suck.
Yeah.
And so it was quickly that I was like, oh, and then, but going back to your point of finance, I was like, photographers are so expensive.
Right.
Like, how am I going to do that? And then it was her idea, put an ad, someone building a portfolio. And then I met this woman who, needed to build up her portfolio and was interested in food. And, we could barter cake and things like that. And then that led me to learn from that person.
Yeah.
And then she actually, Michal, moved to Chicago.
Yeah.
And so then I was kind of like left on my own.
Right.
And I took a few courses.
Sure.
Like in real life because there was no YouTube or anything.
Right.
But not to say it's so much easier, but it is. It's so much easier. The world is so much more accessible that even if, let's say, I'm learning to do watercolor, like you can go online and say, or a perfect example, I just started painting on handbags. And I
have to ask because
yes,
the thing's gonna be confusing.
Yes.
Painting on handbag cakes or actual handbags?
No, on actual handbags.
Well, I have to ask
so
because
confusing.
because
I know, because I could really make them
the
look
handbag
like a cake.
Exactly.
And I do make handbag cakes.
Right.
That is so confusing. This is such a Strauss conversation. Okay, but it doesn't even matter what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what kind of paints I needed or what kind of brushes, and do I need to glaze it after. Anyway, I went to YouTube.
Yeah.
I taught myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, number 2 seems like the generalizable lesson that's not cake specific is always learn to upskill. Like, always be like gaining skills yourself that may be seemingly ancillary to what your fundamental business is, but obviously it's not ancillary because it helps support the business.
Right.
Perfect.
Totally.
We're 2 of 2. Number 3, you intimated earlier, be a media whore.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us.
So don't offer yourself as a prostitute.
Right. I figured that wasn't what it was.
But no, just do as much as you can and, make an impact. I went to hear someone speak about, small food businesses at a culinary school. And one of them was Amanda Hesser. She was, one of the food editors at the New York Times. And I'm like, how do I send you a cake? And then sure enough, I made her a cake. And what was the cake? It was a sushi cake, because what do you make for a food? But out of cake, a sweet cake that looked like sushi.
Looked like sushi.
Anyway, and so, and it's like, that's what I mean. It's like you follow up with every single person you speak to.
Yeah.
And, even now, like, again, my husband will be like, you did that? You know, I'll go up to someone and I'll just say, you know, whatever.
I love that.
You start talking and you get into it, and then you know someone who went to Vassar, and the next thing you're like
it's
best
history.
friends.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
You're my kind of person. Number 4, and you actually mentioned this earlier, but not in these terms. What you said was, look for another baker who will pay your rent.
Yes.
Was the lesson. And you intimated this about Jerry
Which
earlier.
makes it like horrible. And Jerry's going to be like, I did what?
I've been utilized in that way.
No, she knows. It was basically like, okay, I never answered your question about when did I know I can leave fashion and it, you know, it's like this tipping point, like I'm doing fashion, I'm doing cakes, I'm doing fashion, I'm doing cakes. Okay, now I'm doing more cakes than fashion, more cakes than fashion. You know, so then at a certain point,
it becomes obvious.
You realize like, okay, like this isn't worth it anymore. Although that took a while. Like to not take on other jobs that you knew were going to pay you. And so this leads into here, you know, taking a space. Mm-hmm. I knew I couldn't keep doing it out of my apartment. It was just moments until an aggravated New Yorker would say, you know, like, why are you baking? Actually, my downstairs neighbor, who I'm still good friends with, don't live in that building anymore, but he used to be like, what were you doing at 2 a.m.? I'm like, sorry, it's time. Baker's hours.
I was cooking.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so I knew I could, you know, I had like a nest egg from sleeping on my brother's couch and working in fashion for all those years as like a single person that I didn't exactly like go out and party. I was like looking at Costco prices on butter and flour. So yeah, it was just like, okay, I can do this. I can get this space. I'll, you know, outfit the space with equipment, but how do I know that I'm going to be able to pay my rent every single month? I mean, you know, cake designers notorious, like in January is like a dead time. And so, you know, Jerry had a different kind of business. Hers was more like cookies, and she also made cakes, but cookies on cakes. It was just a different business. Not just like weddings and other things. Anyway, and so yeah, it just worked. It came together, and to be honest, and then she had her first child, and she moved on, and I just kept filling in with other people. So I had chocolatiers in there. I had other cake designers. Really any food, no savory food until the end when a caterer took over my space.
That's so cool. Helpful lesson. And number 5, you mentioned him earlier, his name I can't remember, but find your peanut butter guy. Yes. And I know the story, but tell folks what generally that lesson is.
Right. So I mentioned, Lee Zalbin was a few years older than me. We met in an art history survey class. You know, he was taking it his senior year. I think I was a freshman. And yeah, I don't even know. I mean, we both pursued different careers. I think he was in publishing and I went into fashion. And then somehow, I honestly don't even remember how we got back in touch with each other. I really don't know.
That's okay.
I should ask him.
Yeah. That's another story.
I'm doing a separate project for him now, so I'm in touch with him all the time. Here, let's get him on the phone a friend. Anyway, but and then he had his restaurant downtown, and you know, Jerry Seinfeld. Is it true you've never watched a Jerry Seinfeld episode?
You saw that?
I heard that. How did I hear?
It's true.
How is that even possible?
No, it's life. Yeah, it is what it is.
No. Like,
it is what
I mean,
it
you're
is.
young. You're not that young.
Yeah, I know. And my friends make fun of me about this because, of course, they've all seen Seinfeld, but I just haven't. And I'll tell you what I was watching that's of that era. I don't even know what era it was in, to be honest. I'm going to tell you what era I think it was in.
The era?
I don't know.
I really found myself like a dinosaur. Okay.
So of that, when was Seinfeld on TV?
I mean, I don't know.
Were you in school when it was on TV? That'll help me.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Who remembers that?
I'm
not a big TV watcher.
In my mind, Seinfeld was on like throughout the 90s.
In the 90s.
That's what I thought.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So of that time, I was watching A Different World.
Okay, so was I.
Well, I wasn't watching it in the 90s, honey. And I'm telling you, I was watching it because
Oh,
I
you
wasn't.
were. I was gonna say, wasn't that?
No,
Like
I was watching it later.
like
but
Solid Gold. No, this was all earlier. Yes. Okay.
¿Qué es eso? Solid Gold?
Solid Gold.
I don't know. But I watched a different.
Anyway.
So of that era, I watched a different role, and I watched Dynasty, the original
Me
Dynasty.
too. I love Dynasty.
I have never watched Dallas. Only Dynasty.
Oh my God, I watched Dallas too.
But I prefer
That J.R.
But I know
Ewing.
that I prefer Dynasty.
It's almost like he's like our president now.
I don't understand the reference. I didn't watch it, but I believe you. But okay, so I didn't watch Seinfeld.
Okay.
But we were talking about the restaurant. That's how it came up.
Right.
Your friend's
so anyways,
restaurant downtown.
Seinfeld loved peanut butter.
Okay.
And it's actually funny because now Jerry like put out a movie on like frosted maybe cereals or something. I didn't
Okay.
see that. Anyway, whatever. So Lee had this amazing restaurant, peanut, but like the theme was peanut butter.
Yeah.
So all the sandwiches and, you know, carrot sticks with peanut butter.
Oh, cool.
And then people loved he was making peanut butter. It was right near NYU. So in the heart.
Yeah, people were all there,
I
yeah.
mean, that like all hours. And then this is a perfect example.
Yeah.
He started with the restaurant. He wrote a book.
Yeah.
He had the products, and like soon you realize that managing a restaurant, as your friend from dinner last night can tell you, sucks.
Yeah.
And the future of the business was in product.
Right.
And so then he developed all these different recipes, and
see.
now he has powders, he has cookies, he has almond butter.
Yeah.
I'm not doing him justice. He has all these
Yeah.
different amazing products. And so over the years, you know, it's lonely being an entrepreneur. And again, remember, this is before social media. So
Right.
it's not like you could just DM someone
no
and be
Reddit
like,
thread, there's no
how
this.
did you handle
Yeah.
this? And I did work at other cake shops after pastry school as an internship. But
Yeah.
even then, when you go out on your own,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, like when you leave for college, like you don't want to call your parents every 2 seconds.
Right.
I mean, if someone could teach that to my 15-year-old, that would be amazing. Because she calls me every 2 seconds.
She has a couple
like,
years to learn it before she goes away. She's still in your house, so it's okay if she calls
yeah,
you.
sorta.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so right. So it's like, you know, but Lee always became that
was your
mentor for me,
encyclopedia,
and
yeah.
it's like, you know, if I want to make a product or I want to write a book or, you know, I have this
Yeah.
tough client, and you know, and that's gone through many different
Iterations, of course.
iterations, and then, you know, even though I talk about Lee and finding that one person,
Yeah, it's a team of people.
I would
obviously.
argue it's a team of people. So, you know, when my husband's like, don't talk to those people. He's a very friendly person. I'm making him sound horrible, but he's definitely more reserved. I know that's hard to believe. But you know, he's like, don't break the barrier between
Yeah.
like little
Yeah.
like tables and in New York City restaurants.
Okay, I
like
got
if there
you.
are two
I
like
got
ladies
you.
that are maybe upwards of like 80.
Yeah.
And like don't start talking
He's
to
like,
them,
"Leave them
Elisa,
alone."
because they're gonna talk to us the whole time. Okay. So but yes, anyone you talk to,
Yeah.
then I mean, I first got my literary agent because someone I knew went to college with that person's, you
yeah.
know,
Of
things like
course.
that.
Yeah.
So it's all synergy,
Yeah.
and you know, it's like it's that joke like I know a guy.
Yeah. But
Even Lee, you know what? At one point, I hired a consultant because I did a whole line of cake kits.
Okay.
And I didn't know the first thing about manufacturing. And so
Right.
Lee put me in touch with a different
Yeah, yeah.
consultant. And so, you know, there's so many stories like that.
Of course. But to your point, the lesson is have people around you who you can seek help from, who can give you
Right.
guidance, give you advice.
And anyone who
that.
thinks they can do it, like, there's no one that's good at everything.
Of course.
There's not. I mean,
course.
I'd like to think of myself as a creative person, and I do love to do QuickBooks.
Yeah.
And, I love to see where the money goes and that, but I wouldn't say I'm a finance person.
Right, exactly.
And so you need that, and you need other people's perspectives.
Yeah, that is so cool. Those are your 5 lessons.
I know. I feel like they were so much more, but you like made them good. You
No,
made them
they
like
are really
real.
They are real. They're yours.
Yeah.
And I think people can learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
You gave these 5 lessons at the conference some time ago, but I'm curious, after you wrote them down and articulated them to those who were there and then went back home and thought about that experience, was there a moment where you were like, oh, I should have said this, or there's another lesson that I didn't include in the 5 that actually I think I should make explicit for people who are trying to go into entrepreneurship?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think, it's funny. Like my husband and I, we always joke that like sometimes there are like these really big books, but like it all could have just been taught in like a pamphlet.
Yeah.
But then you can't sell the book. And so it's, it all those 5 things are important.
Yeah.
But I think throughout the entrepreneurship weekend, the through line was always like, there is no path.
Right.
And so the one question that someone asked me that I thought, oh, I guess I should have been clearer in answering is like, it's still like, but how do you do it?
Right.
It's like, well, how do you do that? How do you do that? And it's like, no one can tell you how to do it.
Right.
Because it also needs to be authentic.
Right.
Like, I listened to a social media person recently, and the best advice she gave was to be yourself. Like, if you hate doing videos of yourself, like, your viewers are going to know. And so, again, it goes back to the 5 points. Like, if you hate making cakes, like, don't become a cake designer.
Right, exactly.
But maybe you love the photography of it. And then, and so it's just like, there is no easy answer. It's just like, just do it.
Just start. Yeah, you just have to just
Sorry,
go.
Nike.
No, it's okay.
I mean, that was a good thing they came up with.
There you go.
But no, I don't think there was something else. I kind of do feel like
that is it.
I laid myself out there.
Thank
Maybe
you for
too
doing
much.
That. No, not
I'm like, no one will ever ask me to talk again because I literally told them everything.
No, that is not it. I do have a question though. You obviously have made a life and a business and all these things off of making cakes. Fundamentally. And of course, that has expanded, as you intimated earlier. You had to grow and change. You've done educational businesses around cakes. You've done sort of direct like product around cakes. So you've changed and morphed and you've grown, but it's been fundamentally around baking and cakes. And I'm just curious, honestly, you've gone to Vassar, you were taking classes in psychology, anthropology, urban studies, this one, that one. And I'm just curious the ways in which you feel like at this point in your life, if you reflect back, how do some of those things find themselves informing how you run your business, how you think about what you do, the kind of clients you take on, the kind of relationships you have? Like, where do those things intersect? They don't have to, but I'm curious if they do.
I think yes, they definitely do. I mean, when you come to, I can only speak for Vassar because, and I guess at the Art Institute, but I only went to one college. So, but I would imagine that at any institution where you're learning liberal arts, it's not unlike business in the sense that it's all about relationships. So it's about the relationship you have with your professors, and it's about getting your work done on time. And it's like this standard of, had I gone to another school that was much larger, where I didn't have relationships with the professors, or I didn't see, my dorm fellow's wife was a working artist, right? Even though he was, he's a bigwig in the academic world of history. So it's more, and this also goes back to my family. I mean, we're all workaholics. Yeah. So it's like taking all those things and also having and also like being part of the tennis team here. And never losing sight, because again, had I gone to a D1 school, which I was considering, I probably wouldn't have played as much, and I would have traveled a lot more. Whereas at Vassar, it was always clear, like I was never going to be a professional tennis player. That was important, right? Being strong, and like I became a captain, probably my senior year. So being in a leadership role is important. Yeah. And you
Not
have
to
to
the
get your work
detriment of
done.
your other stuff.
You know,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so Vassar facilitates that because, you know, unless you keep a certain grade point average,
Right.
you can't go. I mean, I think most universities
Have
and
something like
colleges
that,
do
yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
that would be silly if an educational university is like, oh, you could fail, but please play.
Yeah.
No. But so I think and then still to this day, like, you know, if I'm down in the dumps,
Yeah.
I'm calling my best friend
Yeah.
who I met at Vassar.
Yeah.
And it's not because we're that similar.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
just, you know, I mean, it's crazy to think that I've known all these people for 30 years.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
I mean, I'm not that old, but
It's
Just
a blessing. Now, you've said before that you are drawn to the art of baking and cake making because it represents sort of a practical art to you. I've heard you say that.
yeah.
And I understand what you mean. And I'm curious about it because, I have to be honest, when you said that, or when I heard you say that, I reacted funny to it. Only because I'm going to tell you why. Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. I'm very honest and direct.
What?
I'm going to tell you. I reacted funny to it because I, of course, was curious about what an impractical art was, or what you assume that meant. What
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
No, I would never. How dare you?
No, I'm kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
know.
No, I know. Yes, sorry. You finish your question.
No,
and
so
then-
but
here,
but
I'm gonna
the
switch
the
legs.
reason why it struck me is I think is because of when I heard it too. We're in this moment now where I think in the world, like, you could imagine I'm understanding the world as this moment as a time where people are trying to really code things as practical, impractical, useful, not useful, like worthwhile, not worthwhile, all these things, right?
Human and inhumane.
All those kinds of things, right? And so that was, I think, in this moment when I heard that frame, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I thought it was a risky frame with which to think about art in
Right.
your work. But of course, you said it in a different context, a different time. But I'm just curious what your thought is as an
Right.
artist generally
Yes.
about the concept of
I
practical
did
art.
say in a different context.
I
will say
acknowledge that.
But because I did mention my parents, you know, so my mom's a musician.
Yeah.
She's a harpist.
Yeah,
So an
cool.
unusual instrument.
Yeah.
But she was always working, teaching,
Yeah.
you know, playing gigs.
Yeah.
Recording albums, touring, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, again, from that business, I
Yeah.
guess, you know, I don't think she would refer to herself as an entrepreneur, but she
Yeah.
was. She was buying and selling harps and,
Right.
you know, things like that. And then my father was a surgeon. And, you know, like that took a lot. That's crazy discipline. And so I think for
see.
me, even though my mom's a musician, which is
Yeah.
in the world of art,
Yeah.
and my parents were very much like, you could do whatever you want.
Right.
Although my dad would have been like, but it's nice to be a doctor, you know? And,
Yeah.
and at a certain point, I thought about doing how can I
post-bac, yeah.
post-bac and becoming a pediatric plastic surgeon. He had it all figured out for me. I was going to work with children with cleft palates,
Yeah.
which sounds so noble and amazing.
Yeah.
Like what an asshole I am, but I just make cakes for a living. But so I think practical in the sense of that,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just like, yes, someone has something to show for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Even to the point where when I went to the Art Institute my junior year, and I was like toying with like medicine and art and like how did these marry? I thought about doing like medical illustration, which I mean, those drawings are incredible and beautiful. They're like architectural works of art. Architectural works of art, or like,
Yeah.
you know, even being an architect. I mean, I
Yeah.
think doing the cakes the way I do them, the sculpted cakes, they have part of architecture in them.
Yeah.
So I think of it practical
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's funny because where I am now, sitting here today, I know I wouldn't have done it at that moment where I would have gone straight to graduate school or gone and tried to sell my artwork.
Right.
I had no confidence. I mean, I still don't. But I'm so much older,
Yeah.
and as you get older and you've experienced so many things,
Yeah.
and it's so cheesy, but you do see what's important in life.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I would be more likely to not do something as practical,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. I hear you. No, yeah.
But that said, I mean, you still have Instagram and Etsy and, you know, a million other platforms where you would sell your work. And if anything, one of my friends just saw me. I actually spoke about, he and his husband were they're about 20 years older than I am. Maybe not so, 15 years older. I met him in fashion, Joshua, and he said that I had both this idea of like, you could do anything, but then there is a practical side to me.
Right.
And so I think that is where
you are.
Yes, like you can't, I was never going to be like, the art will pay for itself. Like, I like to eat, you know, and I want to be able to pay for that.
Yeah.
And so I remember graduating Vassar and being very stressed out that I didn't have a paying job.
Yeah.
And by the way, by the time I graduated, I did.
Okay.
Like Ralph Lauren was already
Right.
hiring me back. But it would, you know, like that idea of like, and of course, and again, now, like the idea of doing a gap year. That's brilliant. Like, why is everyone in such a rush?
Right.
You know? I mean, like, when I look at it for my own children.
Of course. You're like, slow down, like, chill out.
Yeah, like if
life
you want to
is
go
long.
paint in Italy for a year, like, there's going to be an awesome Italian grandma that's going to feed you pasta. Like, you're going to be fine.
Right.
So, I mean, I know it all boils down to, like, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, I also come from a house where like I never had to starve
Sure. You have
you know
certain
the
privileges.
privilege was all mine.
Right.
But I've never not worked hard.
Sure.
Because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know
Absolutely.
if that even answers it.
No, we had a no. I love.
You're
it.
like, you answered it 10 times, Elisa. Can you shut up?
No, I loved it. No, you're a great storyteller. but I do. So it's funny though.
Said no one ever.
Besides me.
Oh my God. I'm like, literally, it's like, who's the worst storyteller?
No.
Here I am.
Don't claim that.
Oh my God, you're so nice.
No. I'm being honest.
Okay.
The folks who have not said that
This
to
is
you.
being recorded, right?
Yeah, of course. The
Okay.
folks who have not given you those kudos or those props,
Yes.
they just aren't good listeners.
Oh my God, you're so right.
That's the framing that we need to lean on. It's not about you, it's about them. But let me, but let me, but so I do, and we're getting towards the end, which is I'm sad
Oh,
to say
so
because I know,
sad.
but we can keep talking
Okay.
afterwards.
It's all right.
But I am curious about in your business of making cakes. I would imagine that you're often interacting with people generally in points of celebration, ebulliency, all those kinds of things. And so but I know as a person, much more is like behind these moments of celebration than just like that particular moment, right? And it's someone who's like with them, kind of like a wedding planner. You're alongside them, like getting the vision, getting the story, making this cake for these moments. I'm just curious what you have learned about humanity as a baker, because you've been at these interesting nexus points of people's lives and you've seen these interesting interactions. And I have to imagine you have a perspective on life and on people, having been alongside them at these moments.
Yes. And I mean, I think with the clients, it's almost like when children go to someone else's house and they're on their best
They act right.
behavior. Yeah. So I think less about the clients, but more about employees.
Tell
So
me
when
more.
I started, I was so young. So a lot of the people who worked for me were older. And I mean, I would never, if you were like, do you have any regrets? Like, I don't have any regrets because how could you? Because I am where I am. And
Yeah.
that's just silly to talk about the past that way. But I would say I learned a lot from the people that we were working together. And I think I was like a little bit too tough as like a young boss, like trying to make her way, who like didn't have children. So like, you know, if I had an employee and she's like, I just need to take this call, it's my daughter's like doctor or whatever, I'd be like, well, they could talk to you afterward. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't think I was that bad, but
Yeah.
there
But
were
you had
things that
Yeah.
Or like, you know, people's sisters getting sick and like being in the hospital for a very long time. Or, you know, someone who commuted over an hour and a half. Or I used to wake up at 4 a.m. and work at Cheryl Climbing Cakes in Brooklyn. And I was on the Upper West Side. So I would wake up at 4 and then like take 2 trains and then walk. And like, you know, you see a different side even of the city. Like who else is up at 4 a.m.,
right.
you know? Not the people on Wall Street.
Right.
Well, maybe, but
yeah,
those were my friends. But you know what I mean? And so I just think, you know, yes, I saw a lot of people. And to be honest, the clients were really mostly good because it mostly was, they were happy.
They were happy, yes, positive.
Yeah, I made no funeral cakes.
I was going to ask you.
I made maybe 1 or 2 divorce cakes, but even then they were happy. So, you know, most of the time that was, you know, joyful and exciting. Yeah. And the best part of the job was always on Monday, calling the people and being like,
how was it?
How was it? I mean, a little trepidation.
Yeah.
I think there were like 2 clients in all those years that like complained. And of course, as my friend from Vassar always reminds me, she's like, Elisa, why are you remembering those 2 people? Like you've done hundreds of cakes.
Yes.
But you know, when it's like each one's like a child.
Yeah. Your cakes have been everywhere, from what I understand. You've made some for Ralph. You did this sort of, not imitation, but this representation of Gordon Ramsay relatively recently. And in between everything else, right? On The View. Who was on The View? Who were the co-hosts when your cake was on The View? I
was on The View a few times. I was on with The Knot, which was a wedding company with Carly Roney. Okay. But I was on the Today Show a few times with Meredith.
Okay.
I've been on shows with Al Roker a few times. Okay. GMA. And he has a production company, so I've done other shows with him. Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, it's a different time. Yeah. And again, not to make myself sound so old, but it was like an exciting time. There were all these magazines. Yeah. So like
Martha Stewart.
Yes. And like I have magazines from Italy and Russia and Asia in different languages. Like I have no idea what they said, but there are pictures of my cakes or like my books or, you know, things like that. Yeah. And I think that's been the most fascinating, just going through different, like, again, I never thought I'd be an author or like, you know, just kind of living in those different industries for a little while.
Yeah. It's like a liberal arts education.
Exactly.
Like that's what your cakes have like. That's what it's been. That's so cool.
No, it's
that's
true.
Incredible.
It's like when I took my first art history class here, I was like, oh my, I mean, I don't know. Maybe now they teach art history in high school, but they didn't in my high school, you know. And so like when I got here, I was like, oh my God. Like,
the world is so big.
And also, like, this is the most amazing thing. Yeah. Like, it combines, like, civilizations and history and food and art. Yeah. And when I was like, art history is the most amazing thing, you know?
That's so cool. I imagine it has to feel really gratifying to have made a life and develop an expertise around something that fundamentally brings people together. I know it sounds cheeky, but I think it's so special because at this point of time in our world in particular, to know that you have a skill and an ability and expertise in a business, of course, that specializes in convening and celebration is no small thing in my mind. It seems like we need more.
Literally
Elisas.
The best thing. I think sometimes people just invite me to parties to talk like about my business. I mean, nothing against lawyers, but like lawyers especially are always like, "Oh my God, like you sculpted that at a cake."
That's so cool.
You know, because they're looking at a lot of briefs and stuff. But I mean, I don't think there's ever been any, like even the most unfriendly people, you show them like a sculpted cake of a dog and they're like,
they soften.
That's cake? And also, who doesn't, even if you don't like, I don't love cake. I love cookies.
Yeah.
But like, you know.
Hot take. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Can
I ask you a couple of student hot seat questions?
Sure.
Yeah. There's 3 of them. I said a couple, there's actually 3.
Okay.
The first one is, okay, cool. It's a funny question. I think. What is or are your go-to ingredients?
Oh, wow. I thought I was like in like an audience answer question. What are my go-to ingredients? Well, I mean, in each category, I probably have something.
Okay.
And you're just talking about cake.
I assume.
Okay, because you're like someone else wrote these questions. Because I do like cilantro, but I don't bake with it.
Yeah, you could though.
Yeah, I mean you
like
could.
a scone.
Yeah, although I don't think. Anyway, I love like pure vanilla extract.
Okay.
I mean Nielsen Massey's like the best.
Okay.
And then I love all the King Arthur products. So their flowers. I love Valrhona cocoa. Like that is like, I only use that in my chocolate cake.
Okay.
And I love cocoa berry pistils, like 58%.
Oh my gosh.
And unsalted butter. I always bake with unsalted butter. You can always add your own salt.
Okay.
But
you can't take it out when you put the salted butter
yeah,
in.
you should be able to control it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, unless a recipe calls for it for some reason.
Yeah, but otherwise unsalted.
Yeah, it's like you're letting someone else decide for you.
Yeah, we like agency here.
Yeah.
Number 2, who haven't you made a cake for that you secretly wish you could?
Oh my goodness. No one has ever asked me that.
Yeah.
And I'm so jaded. Like I've made cakes for like a lot of famous people. Even like people that like you've never watched their TV show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're not gonna let me live it down?
Well, he liked my cake. I'm just saying.
Good. I'm happy.
But I mean, he didn't tell me himself. Anyway, some people write notes. Anyway, oh my God, do they have to be living?
No, whoever.
Oh, I don't even know why I asked that. I have no one in mind. I mean, probably Georgia O'Keeffe.
Okay.
It would be an artist.
Okay.
It would be an artist. I mean, if you want a sappy answer, it would be like I would make it for my dad because then that would mean he's like back from the dead.
Yeah.
And he would appreciate. He loved my baked goods, although he kind of liked cookies better than cake too. So you're like, can this girl just give me a one-word answer? Yeah, I mean, I think it would be an artist like Kusama. Oh my God, amazing!
Okay.
Like like making a cake or who's the other guy? Yeah, food people.
I love that. Okay.
Food and art.
Food and art people. I love that.
Somehow.
Third and final question. Oh, has baking ever felt like a burden?
Oh my God, yes. Like, are you kidding?
No, that's what they asked.
Oh my God. It's like, I mean, again, like my dad was a surgeon, so I was never going to be like, my job is so hard. But I will tell you like two quick stories.
Yeah.
One, I remember one day we had like a crazy weekend. 15 cakes had to go out. And I even remember her name. I won't say it.
Yeah.
She was baking vanilla cake and like she literally forgot to put in the eggs. And like they just came out of the oven. So like not only is it like expensive ingredients, but like now, and remember we had like a 20-quart Hobart. I don't know if this means anything to you.
Doesn't.
Okay, so like you can make 6 cakes at a time.
Okay.
Like this isn't like Betty Crocker,
Right.
you know, whatever. Sorry. So anyway, so she like messed up that whole batch. And I remember walking out of the bakery. It was like early DBT training that I didn't have, but we could talk about that. Anyway, and I remember being like, can like a taxi just hit me now?
Oh my God.
You know, like it would all go away.
Yeah.
I'm like almost ashamed to say it, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
like those
that's how
are
you felt.
real feelings. Like
Yeah.
it was like the bane of my existence was like, I would always say like I'd be on Good Morning America in the morning and like taking the trash out or like having to worry about like pests
Right. Yeah.
in New York City.
Yeah.
Both human pests and other pests. You know, in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like there were so many horrible, annoying things. And so actually once I left my commercial space,
Yeah.
that I had rewired for $10,000, which right now doesn't sound like a lot, but like that was a lot back then to have it, like whatever. The air conditioning units, the fuses blowing as soon as we turn on the microwave and the mixer and the oven at the same time. Crazy to think that a kitchen would need those things. You know what I mean? Like it just everything. Like I've had never missed a day of not having a commercial kitchen.
Right.
And then I didn't even talk about like the employees and like all those things, and then the clients, and then oh my God, the deliveries. The deliveries are enough, and these aren't children deliveries. Easy. Have 3 children.
Okay.
No C-section. Totally fine.
Fine.
Delivering a cake, and this is my story.
Yeah.
My father early on, because he was so like this, like I'd have cakes going in 3 different directions, like New Jersey, Hudson Valley, Brooklyn. Right. And so my dad took one of them. Remember my
to deliver for you.
To deliver for me. Thank you. Because I couldn't like afford a delivery charge. Anyway, and like remember he's an orthopedic surgeon. Like, and I should add a trauma surgeon.
Oh my God.
Like at Elmhurst. Like so we're talking about like gunshot wounds. Like wearing like a thing. Okay. And he just can't. He's like that was he was delivering a roller coaster cake, and he was like, that was the most stressful thing I've ever done.
Who was the client? Like why was it stressful?
It's actually just on a side. The person made my dad go in like the side entrance, like the servant entrance, which is funny because he's an orthopedic surgeon.
Right.
But like it's good for him, bring that humble. No, he was so humble. He was the best. Gosh. But like, he was a dad first.
Yeah, of
and
course.
he like delivered
That's
that
beautiful.
cake, and like he's delivered other cakes that I yelled at him for because I got messed up. But anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so stressful.
Yeah.
Because like what you've just spent a week doing could be destroyed like that.
In a quick second. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
This has been so fun talking to you.
It has? It's fun
Absolutely.
for me.
I hope
Thanks.
so.
I have so many questions for you.
Really?
Let's go back to like Seinfeld and being like an
we
only
have to go,
child.
but we have to go.
I'm kidding.
Oh, but I was gonna answer one.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh my God.
pick the one you want to ask.
Oh my God, they're so okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about being part of Vassar?
Oh, I love that. It's so appropriate. I was prepared for something different, but I can answer that question.
What color's your underwear?
No, it's white. But
that is so boring.
But I know.
I was hoping for a textile pattern.
But hold on. Let me answer your question.
What do you love about here?
Vassar?
Just in case we edit this.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about being a part of Vassar?
Yeah, honestly, I love how nice everyone is, but I don't mean it just like that. Everyone is so thoughtful and so kind and so generous. And I remember a story very vividly of a student who graduated years ago, and I oversee a early career professionals program, like a fellowship program here at Vassar for recent graduates.
Oh, wow.
And I had two students applying for a role, and we ended up choosing one of the students over the other, obviously. And the student we chose wrote to me and said, Wes, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. She said, but I happen to know the other student. She's my friend, and she is much better qualified for this job. Please take her instead. And I just will never forget that because it was such a emblematic Vassar experience. And I was like, I just love working and being part of a community where folks are just so selfless and community-oriented, pro-social, all those kinds of things. And so to be in a place where that is normal is just so such a privilege for me. So that is my favorite thing about working
also
at
because that was the thing that drew me here. Like I went to other campuses and toured and even stayed over with like different, not to poo-poo Eddie. But it was like at some places it was like you had to be like the best or the whatever. And here like people were like sharing and talking and this is before like anyone would say woke. We've always been woke. We've always had co-ed bathrooms. We've always you know what I mean? Like we've always been humanistic. I don't know if that's the right word.
I know what you mean. To
use, but that makes me so happy because I would never be embarrassed to introduce anyone to one of my Vassar friends.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Perfect.
Or a professor, or even our president. She's so awesome.
She is wonderful.
Sorry, I met her too.
Yeah,
I mean, of course you did, but
Yeah,
like
no.
I met her.
gosh.
She was so nice.
Of course.
The entrepreneur thing. Yeah.
Now, my last question before I go is, if you, after spending the last hour together,
Yes.
if I asked you to bake a cake for me that you felt like represented my essence, what would that cake look like?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really literal.
It can't just be a
like
portrait
a
of me.
picture of you,
It
or
can't
like a megaphone, whatever.
A megaphone? A microphone.
No. No, I don't know. Well, I know you've traveled a lot.
Yeah.
So I might make like a travel bag, and then I'd ask you all the different places you've been.
Oh, I love that.
And then I would put that, and then I know like you went to Yale,
my
and
God.
so like I put like that, and then I'd have a Vassar thing, and then, you know, I would probably put like stamp, like almost like a passport and a little airplane.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
That resonates with me.
Yeah.
Thank you. I might make a phone call later and be like, I have a party coming up.
Wait, I have a question. What
Yeah.
flavor?
Oh, okay. I really don't like chocolate cakes.
Yeah.
I really don't. I like chocolate, but in a cake is just too much.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so I'm really buttercream, vanilla.
Vanilla. Yeah.
Simple.
I pegged you as vanilla.
Yeah.
That's
I
my
think-
husband too.
Really? I'm really not though, but cake.
No, not as like a personality.
Yeah.
But like, do you like red velvet?
I love red velvet.
So, because that is a cocoa based.
I know, but for some reason it tastes.
It's
but
lighter.
It's
It has
different.
buttermilk in
Yeah.
it. It has like a twangy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that with cream cheese frosting. Oh my God.
It's time for dessert.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
No, thank
This
you.
was so
Thank you. It was so
fun.
much fun.
Of course. And thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Conversations at the Salt Line. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.